Hi, and welcome to a new video. The new year has just started, and after many years of making videos now, I have used this opportunity to clean out my watch collection a little bit. To be fair, my personal watch collection has already been changing over the last year, and if we're honest, collections change all the time, right? But as I am making more videos and as more and more watches go through my hands, I can't hang on to everything. I also learned and realized that spending some time with a watch can be very fulfilling, but having the watch sitting in a drawer and not wearing it also becomes kind of frustrating, to be honest. So I stripped my collection a little bit and focused a little bit more on core pieces and things that really excite me. And obviously this core collection is not set in stone, it can change any moment if I do fall out of love with something or if I find something more interesting. By the way, I basically made videos to all of these watches already separately, and all videos that are relating to the watches shown in this video are linked down in the description below. And there are also the videos about my first collection update that I made a couple of years ago. The first watch in my collection is my Baltic Aquascuff that I bought in 2018 when it was announced, and this is actually one of the early Kickstarter models. It's not one of the first 300 who were apparently numbered, but it's a watch that was delivered in the first batch in early 2019. This watch has been with me ever since. It's basically, I don't want to say my beater watch, but I wear it pretty much every single day. And if I have to go outside or go on an adventure, sailing, climbing, something like that, that's the watch that I'm wearing. And it's still holding up very well. I have made a number of videos about this watch. I bought this watch not on a bracelet, but on a rubber strap. Although I've never really worn the rubber strap, I always had the watch either on a NATO strap or on a Perlon strap. First on a two-piece, and now mostly on a undersized 18mm pass-through one-piece Perlon. The next watch is my Omega 711 2026. I was looking for a watch that was as close to a Cartier tank as possible in the beginning. At that time, Cartier tanks, even the less expensive ones, silver ones who were gold plated, were sort of out of my budget. And I did not want a quartz watch, I did want a mechanical watch. And I was just not willing to pay the amount of money that had to be paid at that point. And frankly, in terms of technology, for me, these watches are not quite that interesting. It's the design that makes them interesting. But I knew and I felt that I wanted to wear smaller watches that were not necessarily more sophisticated, because technically this is not, but watches that were a little bit more delicate and a little bit more refined in terms of design. I never could wear watches that were bigger than 40mm. I even struggled with the 42mm SKX. That looked kind of clumsy on my pretty small wrist. And pretty early on I went for 36 to 38 40mm watches. This model is a watch that I stumbled across on eBay, and somehow it just hooked me and I had to buy it. And I was surprised on how inexpensive it was, because it had basically everything that I was looking forward in a watch. A steel case, a unique design, some character. And this watch has it in form of a faded dial, so it's kind of a ghost dial. The brass base material is shining through. Originally, this watch would have had a blue dial, which would be really incredible, but this has turned to a purple to brass color, depending on the light. But nevertheless, it's very interesting. It has a solid stainless steel welded on pretty refined bracelet that I just love. It feels amazing. And that watch sort of paved my way into smaller and refined watches, I would say. In between the first Omega and the Baltic, I bought my first Rolex. And this is a 1972 1501 Oyster Perpetual date on an Oyster bracelet. I wanted a Rolex when I was 16 and 17 years old, but obviously buying a Rolex at that age doesn't really make sense. And I worried about the image that I would portray wearing a Rolex. Finally, I came across this model. It was definitely not an investment, although the watch has become a little bit more expensive since I own it. I think I own this watch now for I think it's the third year. People don't really know what it is. People who see the loop on the crystal might suspect it's a Rolex, but generally people do not know what it is. It's a 35mm watch, so it's not that big and most people can't wear it. And by today's standard, it would be probably a woman's watch, but it fits my wrist just well and it's not obnoxiously big, and that makes it interesting. Earlier last year, I sat at a breakfast table with a good friend of mine, and suddenly I heard a bang and a very sharp swirling noise that went on for what felt like less than a second, and the watch had stopped. I immediately knew what it was, and I suspected it to be a broken mainspring. The watch sat in a drawer for pretty much an entire year while I was gathering up tools and knowledge and a spare mainspring. And after having worked on a couple of watches again, I had the courage last month to open it up and partly disassemble it, take out the main barrel. And I was right, the mainspring was broken right in the first coil. And I took it out and replaced it and reassembled the watch. Checked everything. I did not do a full service because I don't wear the watch too often and I don't yet have the knowledge to do a full service, but eventually I will do a full service. I also serviced one of the Omega 625 movements, which is really, really tiny and in that sense maybe even a little bit more difficult than the Rolex movement. That was me testing the water in working on my Rolex, and I eventually will do a full service if I gained a little bit more experience. The watch is well and running. It's doing about 3-4 seconds on a time grapher, and in real life it's actually even more precise, more accurate. The watch is not the most pristine example of a 1501, so it's not an investment piece. I put some scratches on the crystal because it's a plexi, and I enjoy it, and I don't worry about it too much. The idea of a watch that was sort of like a Cartier tank didn't really left me, and so I kept looking. And what I found was the Omega reference number 511-4040. And this is a watch that was interesting to me in a couple of different ways, simply because it's basically what Omega's version of a restrained, clean Swiss Cartier tank was. And these watches don't come up too often, you can find them. And I was lucky that I found 2 of these watches. I found these watches not as a whole watch, but in parts. I found cases and dials and hands who had never been assembled, and then I bought the movements to basically rebuild these watches as watches that basically had never been worn before, despite being 100% original Omega watches. And that was exciting because that was basically me putting something together that belonged together but never had been. And buying 2 random Omega 625 movements on the internet, the movements are just 5 or 6 or 7 serial numbers apart. So that's crazy if you think about it. At the moment, this is sort of my core watch collection. I do have other watches, but I don't wear them, and I maybe intend to get rid of them. A couple of weeks ago, I also built this GMT watch on the basis of a Seiko TMI NH34 movement, and I also made a video about that one. And time will tell if I like to wear this watch and if it gives me something. I also still have a project laying around, which is this lovely Seiko with a 7005 movement. And this watch was a very lovely gift, but it is in desperate need of a service, and I will attempt that project probably in the next couple of months, and obviously we'll make videos about it. How has your watch collection changed in the last couple of years, and what are the pieces that you own? Comment in the comment section down below and give me an idea of what are you collecting and what are you wearing. I'm really interested in your feedback because, you know, I guess we don't talk in depth about collections and sort of often show only the popular and expensive pieces. And yeah, so tell me what you've got in the comments down below. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe if you don't want to miss out on new videos in the future. And you can also follow me on Instagram for more content. You find the link for Instagram in the video description. If you have any watchmaking related questions, or if you have any ideas for future videos, feel free to comment them in the comment section down below. Thank you, and I hope to see you in the next video again.